that's where people found out who I was. I mean, singers in the community didn't even know me. I wasn't making my living as a musician. I was making my living selling ads over the telephone, and got that gig, and my whole life changed.
Hello, singers! You're listening to Find Your Voice. Because when you find your voice, you find yourself. Here, you can find the best warm-up exercises, advice, and tips to sing like a pro and help you become the greatest singer you can be. I'm Melly, founder of Melly Music Lessons, a successful online music community that teaches you to sing freely and find your voice. Remember to subscribe on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and wherever you find your podcast. And join our vibrant community of singers. #FindYourVoice. This episode is brought to you by Singing in 3 Simple Steps, the only online course that will teach you how to sing freely. Visit mellymusiclessons.com for more details. The course starts at the end of the month. Can't wait to see you there. Hello, everybody, and welcome. This is Melly from Melly Music Lessons, and I am so happy to be here with all of you guys. We're in for a treat today. We have Dorian HOLLEY. I want to tell you a little bit, just a quick intro about him, and he will tell you the rest today. Dorian has been a vocalist for artists like Stevie Wonder, Michael Jackson, Christina Aguilera, Coldplay, Rod Stewart, James Taylor, and more. He has also been a coach on American Idol, a singer also on Dancing with the Stars and The Tonight Show. Some of his most recent work includes a tribute concert called A Love Letter to Marvin Gaye, which you can stream on the link that I'm going to be posting below. And he just released some new music he's going to talk to us about. And he was on this year's Oscars as a vocal contractor, which is awesome. So he's the man. He's the coach, the one and only Dorian HOLLEY. Woohoo! Welcome, Dorian. How's everything?
Hi, sweetheart. Everything's good. You forgot to mention that, we met while I was teaching a vocal class.
Yes. We met at Los Angeles College of Music. And that's part of my questions, definitely. Very excited to tell more about that later on. But yes, very excited to be here with you. Thank you for agreeing to share your knowledge with us. We're very, very happy. Okay, so let's start from the beginning, Dorian. Did you always wanted to be a singer?
Well, I always sang. I don't know that I thought about, I want to be a singer. I wanted to be a fireman like most boys when I was a kid. So I thought I would have a job doing the things that I saw, the jobs around me in the world. Everybody loves uniforms. And so that's one of the first things we're attracted to as kids. But I always sang. I went to a beautiful church in Santa Monica called Calvary Baptist Church. That church is still there now. It's the church where my mother and father came from the South and met there and had a family. And that's where we went to church every Sunday. We were required to go to church, to Sunday school and to church. And we had a beautiful big choir at that church. So I got to hear live music every week. I got to see people singing. And I was attracted to music, and my family tells me I had a talent for it. I could harmonize with songs, very early on, 3-4 years old. But I didn't really know, there was no one coming through my life who was employed as a singer. And so that just wasn't something I never really thought about until much, much later. But again, I always sang. I sang in the church. I eventually joined the church choir and the various churches we attended when we moved from one point in Los Angeles to another. I was always in the choir, started writing songs as a teenager. And one of the things that was so amazing and that I love and I'm really grateful for is that I think it's somewhat missing today is that your church becomes a family. It becomes an extension of your family, and it becomes part of your community. And it isn't just that you can sing and get up in front of people and learn how to sing and learn how to perform. It's also that you're thinking about something above yourself. You're singing to God. You're singing for God. And the church community, the church is always, they gave me They gave me a key to the church so I could go there and use the piano and play and learn how to write songs. They trusted me with that. Later on, after high school, when my sister and brother and I formed a band, they let us use the church every Saturday to rehearse in. Me and the band with drums, loud drums and guitars, and eventually use their PA system until we could afford our own PA system. And never was charged a cent, even when I was no good. Encouragement, and I was told that I was great, and I have proof that I was not great. I still have recordings of me singing when I was 12 and 13 and 14 years old, and as I was developing and getting better, and at a point where you could be made to turn around because somebody discourages you. But I only ever got encouragement. People were always, they looked at me and listened to me, and they saw the possible future for me and gave me encouragement. And that's what somebody needs when they're starting. They need somebody to say, yeah, you can do it. You have something. And I had that. I'm grateful for it.
Awesome. I love it. So great. So when did you discover you have this own kind of unique singing voice?
It was then. It was early on, and that people enjoyed it made me want to do it more, and it made me want to practice. And I'd hear singers that were great. Of course, you got records, and sometimes we go to programs where there'd be 2 or 3 different guest singers. I just always wanted to improve, and I always wanted to be good. I would play a record and want to be as good as the people that I love. I thought I had something, and people heard something. They heard some talent in there, and they heard something that was on its way to becoming more than it was at the moment. And I was told, I love your voice, I love your singing, or you did a great job, or you touched me this morning, or what you sang really meant something to me. And I wanted to be in that space, and I wanted to kind of figure out what that was.
Thank you so much for sharing. So you mentioned that you started getting into songwriting, which is something I didn't know. Where did you discover that passion for songwriting?
I just always loved a song that was different or that said something really well. One of the first things I wanted to be was a writer. And I remember one Christmas, my parents got me a typewriter for my Christmas present. And we'd always go to my grandparents' house for Christmas. And while everybody sat in front of the TV, I sat in front of the TV with this typewriter in my lap, typing a story. And I loved the way that words looked on a piece of paper. That was magic to me. Then when I was, I guess, about 13 or 14, 12, I started. Well, this is something curious. This is something that I believe my dad had a lot to do with it. When we'd be getting ready in the morning, one of the ways that he made it fun was he would say something that we were about to do, and he would put a tune to it. He would just make getting up to brush your teeth, or getting up to go to school, or getting up to get ready to go from the bedroom to the kitchen to have breakfast. He'd make it into a little song. And he would say us he would actually make whatever the line was a rhyme. And then he would sing a guitar line at the end of it. And I remember the tune now where he would just always do that. He was like, you're looking groggy, you look like Lurch. Come on, everybody, it's time to go to church. And then it became a game that we all played because we would try to do it. I think that connection was being created of words and music being married together. And so I just started, I started piano lessons, and then I started making tunes to music, and then I started writing songs, and I love writing songs. That's if I could have my way, I would. That's what I would do, and that's what I would be. I mean, I still do write, and not as much. I always wish I wrote more. I wish I'd made time to write more. But that's my first love. I really love when a beautiful song, you hear a beautiful song, man. It really gets to me. It's something that somebody says that you thought, but have never to say it in a particular. I love songwriting. I really do.
That's so nice. I agree. I feel like to me, songwriting is also my first love. And it's so also like the way that you express, especially when I was a teenager, I'm like, I can't tell all this to my mother and father, so I might as well, like, put it in a song. So yeah, that's great. Talking about songwriting, you have well, I saw today you have a new song, but you also have a song called Can't Find My Way Home that you wrote and sang with your daughter, Nayana. Is that how you say it? Nayana?
Well, I didn't write it. It's Nayana is her name. It's
Nayana.
my firstborn, and we did a project of covers, and it's a beautiful project. I'm very very happy with. It's amazing to sing with my baby, and it's called DNA, which is what we share our makeup, and also my name's Dorian. Her name is Nayana, and it's Dorian and Holly. Dorian and Nayana Holly.
I just posted it there on the chat so people can go and follow you and get that incredible album on Bandcamp, right? Is that it?
You can get it at Bandcamp. It's on Rope-A-Dope Records. It's on the new song is I think the new tune is on iTunes, YouTube, and it's everywhere.
Perfect.
It's everywhere. It's everywhere you are. Wherever you are, there's our song.
What was like your first successful gig, the one that marked your name like as a professional vocalist?
It was the Michael Jackson tour. I mean, it was his bad tour, his first solo tour. I had done one tour before that. That was with that nobody really knows now. We were opening for Frankie Beverly and Mays, which is a great R&B funk band, and Shirley Jones. I was in her band opening for Frankie Beverly and Mays, and a lot of people don't know who she is. Older R&B people know. So yeah, but it was the MJ tour. Getting that tour and going around the world a couple of times and being on a 15 months, of touring the world, which was just the most amazing circus-like, dream-like experience ever. People found out who I was. I mean, singers in the community didn't even know me. I wasn't making my living as a musician. I was making my living selling ads over the telephone, and got that gig, and my whole life changed.
So piggybacking on that, tell us, how was the experience working with Michael?
It was amazing. It was great because not only was obviously Michael was one of the nicest people you ever want to meet, one of the hardest working people you ever want to meet, with just talent that could take your breath away. Also, the musicians in the band, everybody was stellar. It was a group of people who were all at the top of their ability. I mean, one of the greatest drummers ever. I mean, every department, the bass, the guitar, the singers, and it was kind of like this. Like everybody wasn't just that, but everybody was. It was like coming to. This is going to be an old school metaphor, and I don't know if it's a good one, but it just popped in my head. You're coming into a town, and it's gunslingers, and everybody is just the best at the shootout. So it was just so much fun to be. Sometimes you come into a situation and like maybe one person is really good, and everybody else is just trying to get there, or two people, and you're dragging along the other singers, or the guitarist is not that good, or whatever. This was, out of like how many? Maybe I think the band was about 13, including the dancers. It was a really big band, and about maybe 16. It was a lot of people in the band, but everybody, for the most part, was excellent, 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 excellent. So that it wasn't just the star power of Michael on stage, which was all anyone really needed, but his band and the singers, the level of everything was like an atomic blast. I mean, it was just like, And to go back and to listen to those and to watch those old shows is really, it's an out of body experience for me. But I'm struggling just trying to find ways to make it come alive for, the people watching right now. But it was just insane and amazing and so much fun. And then on top of all of that, as much energy, as much nuclear energy as it was coming off the stage, as loud as it was, with our stacks and 3 stories of speakers on either side, with all of that, the audience was louder and sending an equal amount of nuclear force, if not more. I mean, you go out on stage and you can just feel the heat the heat of 100,000 people, the heat of 160,000 people is impossible to describe, to know the feeling without actually feeling it. You go out on stage and it would just be a wall of heat and energy coming from the audience. And so it was a rare, amazing thing. And I'm really lucky to have been able to experience it.
Wow, that's amazing. Thank you for such an amazing description. Now I know why you love songwriting. I love it. I was right there with you. I'm like, okay, yeah, I can feel it. I can feel it. It's so great. Good. So I wanna go into, you were a coach on like American Idol, and like when you were there, what did you learn in American Idol as a coach, and how did you help prepare the Idol contestants?
What did I learn? I learned a lot. I learned a lot about show business. I learned about a lot about how difficult it can be. I learned how it's really, you know how it is when you're doing a project with some friends and everybody has ideas and you can't get anywhere. The TV experience is like that and more, because you got a deadline. There's no time. There's already no time. When you start, you're out of time. And there's a lot on the line. The producers obviously want to keep the show on. You're competing with every other show on television, so it's really high stakes. And then, and I'm not even coming close to describing what that part of it is like. But out of all of the things that are going on, all of the pressure to select songs, all of the time crunch, after all of it, and which should be first, is you have this person, this human, usually a very, very young person, who is terrified. Oftentimes, they're people who don't have much experience in front of audiences, and they're about to go on television in front of hundreds of millions of people and perform and be judged. And one of my goals is to try to get them out of that mindset, because there is that perception. But the other perception is that if you're a singer and if you've been singing, you're not going to go do anything new. You're not going to go perform brain surgery. You're not going to go fly a rocket ship. You're going to get up and sing, which is something that you presumably have done thousands and thousands of times. So part of my job is to try to get the person to be present and to take your mind away from you're going to be judged. You're going to be on TV. This is the biggest stage of your life. This is really important. This is the moment. And if you blow it, you could be lost forever. To try to get you out of that and to just go do what you've been doing. Go do what the good part of all of this is you're getting ready to do something that you know how to do. And in some cases, you know how to do it better than the people who are the judges, the celebrities who are about to criticize you on television. And you can't worry about who votes for you, because that's in the hands of God. You can't control what people are going to say. That's out of your. But what you can do is you can control. And we dealt with this in our class together when you and I met. What you control is how you rehearse, how you prepare, and how you have the ability to get control of your mind and your heart and your emotions and tell this story. So that's what. So geez, the things I learned are a billion. And I could go on for probably all weekend talking about them. But my main thing was to try to be compassionate. I like teaching because I'm a singer. And so I'm not telling you about what I think. I'm telling you about what I know. I get nervous. I've had panic attacks. I've forgotten lyrics. I've wanted to run and hide while in the middle of a song. You know, the things that happen to you, as you and your viewers know, the things that happen to you while you're performing, no one can explain. And and you can start thinking about, you know, did I turn off the stove before I left the house while you're singing a song? I mean, it's crazy. And so I try to relate, and I try to be there for them, try to be at their side, try to be a comfort to them. When you come into my room to rehearse, it's a safe place. It's a place where you can make mistakes and you can experiment, and you can cry, and you can think you got the wrong song. Here's one thing that can be really helpful. I'm going to give you two things. One is, it doesn't matter what you sing. The song you choose, like you always hear, you chose the wrong song. I steer away from that because I feel like this. If you perform the song right, it's not the wrong song. If you don't, it is the wrong song. And that can be one day where you perform it right, and the next day you perform it wrong. That said, song choice is really, and this is the second thing, song choice is important. And when you're in a competition, which I think is a thing to be in, I wouldn't ever be in a singing competition because I don't think those two words go together. Performing music and competing. Racing, yes. Swimming, yes. Singing, no. But if you must, and if you are in one, first thing to think about, what songs what's everybody going to choose? You know, everybody's going to choose, you know, when American Idol started, everybody chose Whitney Houston songs, Mariah Carey songs. That's my dog telling me he's hungry. If you can hear that tinkling there. It's his dog tag is hitting the bowl while he licks the bowl to tell me, I need to eat. And so there's always kind of a lexicon of songs that everybody, you know, the latest songs on the radio are the ones that everybody's going to choose. I would stay away from those songs. Because if you stay away from those songs, you're already in a different category than everybody else who isn't thoughtful enough to go over those songs. The second thing is that almost everybody's going to choose a slow ballad that makes you want to stab yourself in the eye. And you're smiling because you remember me talking about this, right? So every singer wants to sing the most heart-wrenching, funeral-inducing, you know, stab myself in the heart song. We're just attracted to that kind of stuff. I wouldn't choose a song like that in a singing competition. Because again, if there are 10 people on the stage, 9 people are going to pick those kinds of songs. I'd pick an up-tempo song. I pick a song because you pick an up-tempo song, you're automatically in a category apart from everyone else. And this advice is for auditions, by the way, in case you guys hadn't noticed. So if you pick that, if you avoid the make me cry ballads, the other thing is that those songs that everybody's going to pick, the judges hear those songs all the time. And when the next person starts to sing it, they just want to fall over crying. So if you pick something new, something interesting, something up-tempo, you already have extra points against your competition. So that's a whole seminar, you know, and I could spend hours talking about that. But curiously, as many times as I've said it, people almost never listen to me.
I love it. I love it. And the reason why I'm laughing is because I remember our very last class. You gave us one assignment, and it was like, if you choose a ballad, you're not going to have a good grade on this class. And everybody chose a ballad. Everybody chose a ballad. So I remember having straight A's in all my classes except your class. I had a B, I remember. And I was like, this is because we chose that damn ballad. I remember that.
I don't remember that, but it sounds like something I would do. The thing is that the main thing is one of the reasons we're not successful, and I include myself in this is we go against what can work for whatever reason. It's just like if I say to people, if you sing a ballad, you're not going to pass this audition. People will still come in and sing ballads because Why? Why is that? Why will people do that? Or let's say this: if you know that, let's say you have a 40-hour a week job, and you know that when you get home from work, you're not going to want to work out, but you know that working out is going to make you healthier, it's going to make you feel better, you're going to perform better. People still won't get up early in the morning and work out. If people know that sugar is poison, but then we will still eat it. So if we do these things in life that we know are not good, that we know don't work, we know won't get us, but we still insist on doing those things. And it's human nature. It's unfortunate. But if a person will, if a couple of people who are watching this YouTube will go, I read a thing a couple of days ago where on Instagram where the guy said, if you just take 18 minutes every day and do a thing, whether for 18 minutes you do push-ups, or you practice piano, or if you practice singing, or if you learn to cook, or learn a new language, or learn music theory, 18 minutes every day. At the end of 365 days, you will be in a better position than 90% of the people on this planet. Because most people won't do what's required to be successful. And the information for being, and the other thing is that it's stuff that we say we want. I want to be a better piano player. So I can't practice 18 minutes, but I can look at TikTok for 2 hours every day. And so the prescription to improving, to being better, it's right there. Like, if I'm sure that almost everything I've said that people have heard before, but if there are people who are hearing this for the first time, if they just do what I just said, they'll be successful at what it is, whatever it is. Like, you want to be a better guitar player, and you want to join a band. You could be a great guitar player in a year with just 18 minutes. Now, that's not. Now, what if you put 2 hours in? Oh my God. What if you put 3 hours in a day? You'd be a master at the end of that. And everybody would be beating a path to your door, So anyway, yeah. So I don't even remember what the question was, and I kind of went off on a tangent as I often do. But it's encouraging to know that we can all be better at whatever it is if we would just kind of fight our natural urge and dig in.
I love it. I love it. Thank you so much for sharing. I know we have a couple of questions. We're going to try to get through some questions first that I have over here, but then if we have extra time, we'll get to answer those questions, you guys. Okay. So I know the way we met was in music school, and I've always wondered, because when I saw your name and when I saw that you were going to be my teacher, I'm like, there's no way. There's no way. Come on, So being able to choose any gig in the world, really, from my point of view, what made you choose vocal teaching?
Well, it's interesting. If you're going to be a musician, if you're going to earn a living as a musician, you're going to do a billion things along the way. And the singers had a strike. The singing union in Los Angeles, nationwide, had a strike, so we couldn't work for 2 years. And a friend of mine taught at the school. She asked me to come in and substitute. One day she had a gig, she couldn't do it, and I came and I taught. I taught 1 or 2 times at the school. Not very long after that, she went out on tour with, can't remember if it was Stevie Nicks or if it was with the Eagles. I think she was in both bands. And she asked if I would cover her class for a whole semester, because I guess she got good, a report from me doing it. And just before that, what the funny thing was, just months before, my wife asked me, why didn't I go up the road to the college and see if I could teach some classes? Because, I wasn't making any money. And I was like, I had a cynical view towards teaching. Real musicians don't teach. People who teach are people who can't make it in the music business. But anyway, I took this class because I needed the money and I didn't have anything better to do. And I loved it. I loved teaching. I didn't realize that I had so much to share. I love people. And I had some information to pass on. So that's how I came to teaching. And this is what's really interesting, and why we should always be open. Just be open to stuff that you don't know. Just if you just are open in general and say yes to things, you really will be shocked where it leads. After I taught there for a few years, Ricky Minor, who I was kind of getting closer to and beginning to work for, he's a music director and he puts together bands for shows and tours and everything. And he was called to be on American Idol and he was putting together a team. And he called and asked me if I wanted to coach on the show. And I said yes. But everything I did there at LA College of Music is what prepared me for coaching on American Idol because I'd never really coached before. But it was just a glorified performance class. Every single thing that I did on American Idol, I learned at the college. How to pick a song, how to choose a song, how to perform. I mean, I know how to perform because that's what I do. But, it's one thing to be able to do it. It's another thing to be able to articulate it to somebody else and help them do it. So, that step, I mean, I guess I could have gone to American Idol, but I don't know how well I would have done. It's a possibility that I am not able to be effective and maybe couldn't even keep the job, But yeah,